Good evening. The future belongs to those who believe in the beauty of their dreams. Welcome to BMC News Live in English. I am Vinod Narayanan, joining you with the daily news updates. Today's headlines. Proposal to exempt care homes from labor fees. Vote set on law to revive handicrafts. Abu Dhabi launches virtual license for non-resident investors. Pfizer says COVID-19 vaccine more than 90% effective in kids. News in detail, starting with the latest updates of the moment. Proposal to exempt care homes from labor fees. Social clubs, parents' care homes and rehabilitation and care centers for the disabled could be exempted from paying labor market fees under a new parliament proposal to be debated on Tuesday. The amendment to the 2006 labor market regulatory law has been proposed by 5 MPs led by Dr. Abdullah Al-Thawadi. They believe it would reduce the expenditure of such establishments which are facing a credit crunch owing to curb imposed following the outbreak of COVID-19. The National Institute for the Disabled has backed the move to drop the fees. MPs have also submitted a proposal seeking to exempt widows, orphans and other beneficiaries listed under the Royal Humanitarian Foundation from paying government fees. The Labour and Social Development Ministry replied that they were already listed under its books for social welfare. The Housing Ministry also added in writing that housing installments were waived for families if the breadwinner dies. Meanwhile, civil servants studying on their own expense at local universities and abroad could get financial aid from their workplace. Families must be given up to 2 years to move into their new government homes before their agreements are cancelled, say MPs. The Housing Ministry currently allows citizens 6 months to move in. MPs claim several families are unable to move in within the stipulated time as they cannot afford to furnish the house in the short span. However, the ministry has raised objections saying that leaving a house abandoned for 24 months could have dangerous consequences. Parliament's Public Amenities and Environmental Committee has approved a proposal extending the span from 6 months to 2 years, which has been opposed by Ministry of Security and Social Reasons. The recipient is legally bound to move to the new unit within a maximum 6 months unless he has a justification approved by the competent directorate. The Housing Bank also starts deducting installments 6 months after the beneficiary gets a new housing unit. It said the extended 2-year span would affect the unit and cost the ministry further maintenance. Parliament is set to debate the issue at its session this week. Proposal to cover up eyesore dumpsters. Attractive panels could be installed to conceal dumpsters overflowing with trash in residential areas, described by councillors as an eyesore and a traffic hazard. The Northern Municipal Council has approved a proposal to fence off wheelie bins which they claimed were disrupting traffic flow and causing accidents. Council Chairman Ahmed Al-Kuhaji said the project, if implemented across the country, would beautify neighborhoods and keep them clean and healthy. Dumpster enclosures are gaining popularity globally, with people using wood, PVC, bricks, concrete and aluminium among other materials to fence off the area. The proposal will now be referred to the Works, Municipalities Affairs and Urban Planning Minister Ehsan Kala for review. Bahrain Institute for Political Development Skills campaign for election hopefuls. Election hopefuls and campaign managers are expected to take part in a series of training programs to help them prepare for the national polls next year. The Bahrain Institute for Political Development will launch its second edition of DARAP program tomorrow. It aims to train hundreds of candidates and campaign managers ahead of the 2022 Parliament and Municipal Council polls. A series of online lectures and in-attendance workshops have been planned as part of the program that continues until December, featuring several experts. The training is being conducted in 4 stages. The introductory phase was completed last year, in which more than 900 participants were briefed about the electoral process. Voting for 40 parliament seats will take place in constituencies across the 4 governorates and for municipal seats in the country's 3 municipal councils, Northern, Southern and Muharraq. The sessions will include training on using social media, setting budget for campaigns, registering violations, and creating posters or promotional content to attract voters. Bahrain's rules stipulate that foreigners and GCC citizens can contest municipal polls as long as they own properties and are registered in the voters list. Vote set on law to revive handicrafts. MPs are set to vote on a controversial legislation that would see the introduction of 20% tax on value of imported products that compete with local handicrafts. The vote will be held as Parliament convenes on Tuesday. The National Traditional Handicrafts Protection Law aims to safeguard and revive Bahrain's dying professions. It also seeks to provide Bahraini products with international intellectual and genuine certification. However, the key legislation was put on hold on January 2020 following the COVID-19 outbreak. Since then, local craftsmen have been urging legislators to push ahead with the law to rescue the country's traditional professions from financial devastation. The Labour and Social Development Ministry has sought more clarity, asking if traditional home food products would also be included under the law. MPs will also vote on the Nagoya Protocol on access to genetic resources and the fair and equitable sharing of benefits arising from their utilization to the Convention on Biological Diversity. Bahrain records 66 new cases and 64 recoveries. Out of 15,860 COVID-19 tests carried out on 22nd October, 66 new cases have been detected among 17 expatriate workers, 45 new cases are contacts of active cases, and 4 travel-related. There were 64 recoveries from COVID-19. There are currently 2 COVID-19 cases in a critical condition and 6 cases receiving treatment. 648 are stable out of a total of 650 active cases. Now we will be back after a very short break.
All your favorite products under one roof in Bahrain at 27-year-old Megamart and Macromart. Bakery, fresh meat and fish, fruits and vegetables, sweets and snacks, ready-to-eat foods, dairy products, grocery or consumer goods. To have a wonderful shopping experience, please visit your nearest Megamart Macromart branch. Megamart and Macromart, full of goodness. Bhavan.
The exclusive franchisee of Cochin Kala Bhavan in Bahrain. With over a decade of existence in Bahrain, exclusive online regular classes have started for classical dances, music vocal, instrumental music, cinematic dance, Kathak, Zumba body fitness, karate and yoga, drawing, arts and craft, children's theatre. For more information, please call 3909 6845 3909 4806 38 85 2397 or visit www.bahrainmediacity.com. IMAC, Cochin Kala Bhavan.
Welcome back. ICRF conducts online awareness session, COVID-19 and the individual, the way forward. The Indian Community Relief Fund is organizing a webinar on COVID-19 and the individual way forward. Dr. Sunil J. Rao, MD Specialist Internal Medicine at Royal Bahrain Hospital, Dr. Chelaraja C., MD Specialist Pulmonologist at American Mission Hospital, and Ms. Asha, Psychologist, Child Development and Rehabilitation Specialist from the Bangalore, are the expertise panel discussing the subject. The focal point of this webinar is to reflect on the past months of the pandemic and discuss the various health issues as well as to dispel fears and myths. Attendees of the webinar can raise their questions to the experts during the session. For attending this insightful webinar, visit ICRF Facebook page live on Saturday, 23rd October at 7:30 p.m. Abu Dhabi launches virtual license for non-resident investors. The Abu Dhabi Department of Economic Development has launched the virtual license allowing the non-resident foreign investors to obtain an economic license for doing business in the Emirate of Abu Dhabi without any prior residence procedures and from any location outside the UAE. The added announcement was made on the sidelines of the 41st session of the GITEX Global Being under the slogan, "Nothing stops people and tech." The virtual license covers 13 economic sectors on top of the strategic sectors targeted by the Abu Dhabi government to attract foreign direct investment, including agriculture, manufacturing, repair, contracting, maintenance and installations, retail trade, transport, services, leasing services, health and entertainment event organization. Tunisia imposes COVID-19 vaccine pass on Tunisians and all foreign visitors. Tunisia is imposing COVID-19 vaccine passes on Tunisians and all foreign visitors. A presidential decree showed on Friday. Officials, employees and users are required to show a card providing inoculation against the coronavirus to access public and private administrations. According to the decree, the pass will also be required to enter cafes, restaurants, hotels and tourist establishments, it said, Reuters reports. The decree showed that the jobs of employees who did not receive vaccination in the public and private sectors will be suspended until the vaccine pass is presented. The vaccine pass will also be a necessary document for traveling abroad. The decree says that authorities should give a pass to every person who has received the vaccination. It also be given to foreign visitors who present a certificate of vaccination upon arrival. G7 countries reach breakthrough on digital trade and data. The group of 7 wealthy nations agreed on a joint set of principles to govern cross-border data use and digital trade. Britain said in what was described as a breakthrough that could liberalize hundreds of billions of pounds of trade. Trade ministers from the G7 reached agreement at a meeting in London on Friday. The deal sets out a middle ground between highly regulated data protection regimes used in European countries and the more open approach of the United States. The principles covered open digital markets, cross-border data flows, safeguards for workers, consumers and business, digital trading systems, and fair and inclusive global governance, the communique said. Pfizer says COVID-19 vaccine more than 90% effective in kids. Pfizer says kids' doses of its COVID-19 vaccine are safe and nearly 91% effective at preventing infections in elementary school children. It can protect from asymptomatic infections to 5 to 11-year-olds, according to study details released Friday as the US considers opening vaccinations to that age group. The shots could begin early next month with the first children in line fully protected by Christmas if regulators give the go-ahead. Details of Pfizer's study were posted online on Friday. Advisors to the Food and Drug Administration will publicly debate the evidence next week. Pfizer's study of younger kids found the low-dose shots proved safe with similar or fewer temporary side effects such as sore arms, fever or achiness that teens experience. The study isn't large enough to detect any extremely rare side effects. US budget deficit hits $2.77 trillion in 2021. The US budget deficit totaled $2.77 trillion for 2021, the second highest on record, but an improvement from the all-time high of $3.13 trillion reached in 2020. The deficits in both years reflect trillions of dollars in government spending to counteract the devastating effects of a global pandemic. The Biden administration said yesterday that the 2021 deficit for the budget year that ended September 30 was $360 billion, lower than 2020, as a recovering economy boosted revenues, helping to offset government spending from pandemic relief efforts. Before the deficit ballooned during 2 years of a global pandemic, the highest and the biggest deficit had been a shortfall of $1.4 trillion in 2009. As the US spent heavily to lift the country out of a severe recession following the 2008 financial crisis. Malaysia reopens cautiously to foreign workers and tourists. Malaysia said Friday it will reopen to foreign workers to address a labor crunch and allow fully vaccinated tourists at the northern resort island of Langkawi next month without quarantine. Prime Minister Ismail Sabri Yaqoob said the government will use the reopening of Langkawi on November 15. The first time foreign tourists will be allowed back since March 2020 as a gauge for 3 months before opening up the rest of the country. The Associated Press reported Malaysia banned the hiring of foreign workers in June last year to give locals more employment opportunities, but it sparked a severe labor shortage. The National Chamber of Commerce and Industry of Malaysia said that the number of foreign workers has dwindled to 1.1 million from 1.9 million in 2018. Japan adopted a new plan to push clean energy, nuclear to cut carbon. Japan adopted a new energy policy on Friday that promotes nuclear and renewables as sources of clean energy to achieve the country's pledge of reaching carbon neutrality. In 2050, the Associated Press reported the new basic energy plan adopted by the cabinet just in time for the climate summit in early November calls for drastically increasing use of renewable energy to cut fossil fuel consumption over the next decade as Japan pushes to meet its ambitious emissions reduction target. Japan has been undecided over what to do about its nuclear power industry since the 2011 Fukushima plant disaster. It now says reactor restarts are key to meeting emissions targets as Japan tries to set up in the global effort against climate change. 24 of Japan's 54 workable reactors were assigned to be decommissioned after the Fukushima disaster as utility companies opted to scrap old reactors rather than invest heavily in added safety measures required under stricter post-Fukushima standards. Only 10 reactors have restarted over the past decade. With that, we come to the end of today's news. Stay tuned for daily news updates in BMC News Live English at 7:30 p.m. every day. I'm Vinod Narayanan, signing off from BMC News Live. Good night.